Michael Jordan's legendary performances in the playoffs remain unmatched. He scored 50 or more points in a playoff game 8 times, more than Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Wilt Chamberlain combined. When it came to 40-point playoff games, Jordan led the pack with more than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Allen Iverson, Stephen Curry, and Dwyane Wade put together. In fact, MJ is the only player in NBA history who had more career games scoring 40-plus points than games where he scored under 20. Jordan's presence on the court was intimidating. His relentless trash talk, supreme athleticism, and sheer will to win struck fear in the hearts of opponents. While other players needed to rest and prepare rigorously before facing the Bulls, Jordan could drink, smoke a cigar, and still drop 40 points effortlessly.
Game on the line, who would take the last shot? Me.
His dominance in clutch moments was undeniable. He scored 28 game-winning shots, including 7 in the playoffs. But he wasn't just a scorer. He holds the record for the most first-team all-defense selections, 9, is the all-time blocks leader among guards, and has the most seasons with over 200 steals, 6. In 1989, when the Bulls lost their starting point guard, Jordan seamlessly transitioned into the role. Over 11 games, he recorded 10 triple-doubles, averaging 30 points, 11 assists, and 9.5 rebounds. From 1991 to 1996, MJ played 13 consecutive playoff series where he averaged over 30 points per game, finishing his career with 6 championships, 5 MVPs, and a perfect 6-0 record in the NBA Finals. Yet, even with his otherworldly abilities, Jordan had his flaws. He led the league in field goal attempts 9 times in his 13 seasons with Chicago, earning a reputation as a ball hog, particularly early in his career. He also had his share of underwhelming playoff games and wasn't always the easiest teammate to get along with. So, how great was Michael Jordan really? And is he the greatest of all time? To answer that, we have to examine both his talent and work ethic. Michael Jordan was never supposed to be tall. No one in his family was over 5'9", and as a high school sophomore, he was cut from the varsity team at 5'11".
It sounds sad, but it's true.
However, the Jordans were born athletes. His older brother, Larry, could dunk at 5'8". Then came the unexpected growth spurt that shot MJ up to 6'6", unlocking his full potential. By the end of his high school career, he was averaging 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. Despite his athletic gifts, Jordan was still raw. He only played 2 years of high school basketball, and as a freshman at UNC, he put up a modest 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, trailing James Worthy and Sam Perkins in scoring. However, his confidence skyrocketed after hitting the game-winning shot against Patrick Ewing in the 1982 NCAA Finals.
Championship.
18. Shot. Jordan. North Carolina has won the 1982 NCAA championship.
Jordan later admitted, "That turned my name from Mike to Michael Jordan." Under the legendary Dean Smith, MJ developed into a complete player, earning consensus first-team All-American honors and winning Collegiate Player of the Year in 1984. Still, his college numbers didn't scream future Joe A. Many before him had more dominant college careers, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Oscar Robertson. That skepticism led to Jordan being selected 3rd in the 1984 NBA draft behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. The doubts didn't last long.
He's only 6'6", so how much can he really do?
We wish he were 7'1".
But he isn't.
Bulls coach Kevin Lowery knew instantly, "You didn't mess up the draft this time."
The first day in practice, my mentality was whoever is the team leader on that team, I'm going after him. And I'm not going to do it with my voice because I had no voice. I have to do it with the way that I play.
Jordan arrived in Chicago with a killer mentality, determined to prove himself. In just his 3rd NBA game, he scored over 30 points. By his 9th game, he had already dropped 40. Within a month, it was clear Jordan should have been the first overall pick. His speed, quickness, and athleticism made defenders look helpless. No one could keep up with Jordan's first step, and once he took off, gravity seemed optional. Defenders jumped with him, but as they fell, he stayed suspended, calmly releasing his shot. His explosive style made him an instant fan favorite, earning him an All-Star selection in 1986 despite playing only 3 games due to an ankle injury. That same year, he dropped 63 points in a playoff game against the Celtics.
How's the transition been from college to the NBA?
Well, I think it's been pretty easy.
Leading Larry Bird to say,
But it was an incredible
playoff performance. I've never seen it before, and I had never seen it after. That wasn't Michael Jordan out there. It was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
By 1987, Jordan was scoring at an unprecedented level. He led the league with 37 points per game, the highest average since Wilt Chamberlain's 1960s dominance. But despite his individual brilliance, the Bulls kept losing. In his first 3 seasons, MJ won just 1 playoff game. Everything changed when Chicago acquired Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. By 1988, Jordan averaged 35 points on 54% shooting with 6 rebounds and 6 assists, winning his first MVP award. That same year, he also led the league in steals and won Defensive Player of the Year, one of only 5 players in history to win both awards in the same season. His performances in the 1988 dunk contest against Dominique Wilkins and his breathtaking highlight reels had many already calling him the best ever. But to Jordan, only one thing mattered: winning. With Pippen and Grant on board, the Bulls won 50 games for the first time since 1974. Jordan carried them past the Cavaliers in the playoffs, averaging 45 points per game. But Chicago was no match for the battle-tested Detroit Pistons, who beat them in the second round. The Pistons' physicality and infamous Jordan rules frustrated MJ. In 1989, he hit his first truly iconic NBA moment, the shot. But once again, the Bulls fell short against Detroit.
The shot. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win it! Set the Cleveland Cavaliers!
The story repeated itself in 1990. Jordan dominated statistically, but couldn't overcome the Pistons. After 3 straight postseason losses to Detroit, the media started questioning him. Could he play winning basketball? Was he too focused on scoring? Would he ever lead a team to a championship? In a way, critics weren't entirely wrong. During the 80s, Michael Jordan often tried to score despite facing double or even triple teams, overlooking his wide-open teammates. By 1989, he had developed into a capable passer, averaging a career-high 8 assists per game. However, Jordan's mindset was always to score first and pass second. Unlike Magic Johnson, Nikola Jokic, or Luka Doncic, who manipulate defenses with their vision and misdirection, Jordan's passing was more reactive. He dished out the ball only when he saw someone wide open. But because he attracted so much defensive attention, his passes often led to easy dunks. Despite his staggering scoring numbers, the Bulls' offense remained average in the 80s. Ironically, their best offensive season during that era was in 1986, when Jordan missed most of the season due to an ankle injury. It wasn't until 1990, coinciding with the arrival of Phil Jackson and the rise of Scottie Pippen, that the Bulls' offense cracked the NBA's top 5. Pippen's ability to push the ball in transition and create opportunities allowed Jordan to finally trust someone else to make plays. After suffering against physically dominant teams like the Detroit Pistons, Jordan decided to bulk up, which was revolutionary at the time. In the 80s, most players were lean and weight training wasn't a major focus. But when MJ returned for the 1991 season, he was not only still as quick and acrobatic as ever, but now he was significantly stronger. This helped him absorb contact better and overpower smaller defenders in the post. Phil Jackson and Tex Winter also introduced the triangle offense, a system based on spacing, cutting, and playmaking from the post. This strategy optimized the Bulls' offense, ensuring Jordan received the ball in better scoring positions rather than having to force shots. As a result, Jordan's game reached new heights, and in 1991, he secured his second MVP award. The 91 Bulls had the best offense in the league and dominated the Eastern Conference. They swept the Knicks, defeated the 76ers in 5 games, and finally got their long-awaited revenge against the Pistons. Detroit, after 3 straight finals appearances, was on the decline, while Chicago was surging. The Bulls dismantled the Pistons in a sweep, and in a controversial moment, Detroit's players, led by Isaiah Thomas, walked off the court before the final buzzer without shaking hands.
We finally got over the hump of the loser's mentality. We were starting to become a winning franchise. And, this guy was elected.
Throughout the playoffs, he was spectacular, averaging 31 points, 8.5 assists, 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks while shooting a career-high 56% from the field. By far, he was the most dominant player in the league. The 1992 season was simply a continuation of Pete Jordan. He won another scoring title with elite efficiency, earned first-team All-Defense honors, and claimed another MVP award. The Bulls, once again, had the league's best defense and won a franchise record 67 games. In the finals, they faced the Portland Trail Blazers, with the media hyping up Clyde Drexler as Jordan's equal. Critics doubted MJ's outside shooting, so he responded in Game 1 by draining 6 three-pointers and scoring 35 points in the first half, an NBA Finals record at the time. This legendary performance became known as the Shrug Game.
The most talented player in the NBA, by far.
Despite Portland tying the series at 2 games apiece, the Bulls proved too strong, closing out the finals in 6 games. Jordan averaged 36 points per game in the series, once again proving his superiority. Following back-to-back championships and the Dream Team's dominance in Barcelona, Jordan and Pippen entered the 1993 season fatigued. The Bulls weren't as dominant in the regular season, but MJ still secured his 7th consecutive scoring title and led the league in steals. Chicago battled through the playoffs and reached a 3rd straight finals appearance, this time against the Phoenix Suns, led by league MVP Charles Barkley. Barkley, who had been the best player on the Dream Team, believed he had surpassed Jordan, but MJ took that personally. The Bulls won the first 2 games in Phoenix, putting themselves in prime position for a three-peat. However, the Suns fought back, stealing games 3 and 5 in Chicago. Game 4 could have gone Phoenix's way as well, if not for Jordan's sheer will. He dropped 55 points, the 2nd highest scoring performance in NBA Finals history, breaking the Suns' resistance.
And Michael just outplayed me. That was probably the first time in my life that I felt like there was a better basketball player in the world than me, to be honest with you.
With Chicago leading the series 3-2, Game 6 returned to Phoenix. The Suns controlled the 4th quarter, looking poised to force a Game 7, but Jordan refused to let that happen. Everyone expected him to take the final shot to tie the game. Yet, he was no longer the stubborn player from his early years. This time, he trusted his teammates. He showcased every facet of his game. His ability to break down defenders one-on-one, maneuver through double teams, attack the rim with precision, and create open shots for his teammates. Compared to his early years in the NBA, the evolution was undeniable. He knew when to apply full-court pressure on defense, when to take over the scoring load, and when to trust his teammates, embracing his role as the ultimate leader. Skill-wise, Jordan had transformed into an even stronger, more polished player. His mastery of footwork and the post-up game was a sight to behold. When he got to his preferred spot, he'd rise into the air, seemingly hanging there for an eternity, before sinking his signature fadeaway jumper with surgical precision. For 18 months, he pursued a career in baseball, but eventually, the fire for basketball burned too strongly to ignore. Then came the most famous 2-word press release in sports history: "I'm back."
It came in a 2-word statement, which is now just begging to have a Nike campaign built around it, quote unquote, "I'm back."
It didn't take long for him to remind the world of his greatness. Just 5 games into his return, he dropped 55 points on the New York Knicks in what became known as the double nickel game. However, his rhythm wasn't the same. A year and a half away from the game had taken a toll. His shooting percentage fell to a career-low 41%, proving that even the greatest need practice to stay sharp. Despite averaging 31 points on 48% shooting in the playoffs, the Bulls fell to the Orlando Magic in the 2nd round. While some blamed Jordan's time away, the real issue was Chicago's lack of size and depth. Horace Grant, their former power forward, was now playing for Orlando, and along with the young Shaquille O'Neal, the Magic simply overpowered the Bulls inside.
Last week, the Bulls announced the acquisition of a player many people consider the most controversial basketball star in the NBA.
The 1996 Bulls were a juggernaut. They became only the 2nd team in history to lead the league in both offensive and defensive efficiency. Their staggering plus 13.4 net rating remains the highest ever recorded. With a record-setting 72-10 season, Jordan claimed another MVP, averaging 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. In the playoffs, Chicago was nearly unstoppable. The Seattle Supersonics gave them some resistance in the finals, with Gary Payton proving to be the first defender who could somewhat slow Jordan down.
This is my daddy. I'm very happy for you. He's a voice of reason that always drove and challenged me. That's the type of father I am.
Like a friend.
Yeah, like a friend.
But stopping him was another matter. The Bulls won their 4th championship, and for the first time, Jordan celebrated without his father. The 1997 season saw Chicago continue its dominance. With a roster stacked with Hall of Famers and elite role players, they cruised to a 69-13 record. In Game 6, with the title on the line, Jordan made the ultimate trust play, kicking the ball to Steve Kerr, who nailed the championship-winning jumper. By 1998, the Bulls were exhausted. Scottie Pippen battled injuries and contract disputes, and Dennis Rodman's antics reached new heights. But Chicago still had Michael Jordan. While he wasn't as explosive as before, his basketball IQ and ability to control the game remained unmatched. Despite Pippen missing half the season, Jordan led the Bulls to 62 wins and earned his fifth MVP award. 6 championships in 8 years. After 1998, Jordan retired for the second time, marking the end of his legendary prime. His Bulls career can be divided into 3 distinct eras. The 1994 Chicago Bulls, led by Scottie Pippen, a rookie Tony Kukoc, and sharpshooter Steve Kerr, managed to win 55 games without Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, or Ron Harper, who might just be one of MJ's most underrated teammates. When they all finally came together in 1996, it was game over for the league. Having great teammates is essential to winning in the NBA, especially when a superstar starts to lose some of this physical edge. Jordan wasn't as explosive during the second three-peat as he was in his early years, but that's like saying a Ferrari lost 100 horsepower. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest content. And if you think someone else needs to hear this GOAT debate, share this video with them. Drop a comment below. Who's your pick for the greatest player of all time? Let's talk hoops. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.